What's going on, everyone? I'm Paul with my co-host Anthony LaFrere, and we are Fair Catch Kick, the 15-minute fantasy football podcast. We're here today for a special episode where we're going to go over our approach to daily fantasy football lineup construction, specifically for the Saturday-only slate on Draftkings.
And let me tell you something. This is the one-stop shop for the edge in DFS. Paul is white hot. He is one of the best in the country right now. Our listeners are making money left and right. You need to be listening to us for the next 15 minutes. Hey, raise your hand if you were all over Deonte Harris last week. Yeah, that guy was. That guy right there. Paul was so good last week. He was a stupid Anthony Miller ejection away from $100,000. This is the guy we need to be listening to right now.
We came in 35th out of 70K in last week's lineups. The Deonte Harris play was a good value play. That's kind of where I pride myself. For those that haven't watched the show yet, is I like finding the guys, the third string receiver or a backup running back or tight end that's going to make an impact. We were able to nail that last week with Deonte Harris. Listen for a few more minutes and we'll give you our value plays for this week. Real quick, at FCK Podcast on Instagram, on Twitter. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Also find us on Apple Podcasts. Anthony, let's hit him with some lineup construction and strategy.
Okay, Paul. Well, as the new coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer, said, it's a quarterback-driven league, and DFS lineups are quarterback-driven lineups. We got 4 options for Saturday's slate. Who do you like?
All right, let me share my screen really quick, and we can go through them all individually. So first and foremost, I know Jared Goff's price is attractive versus the others, but Green Bay's secondary has been so strong. I don't want to take the risk just to save a little bit of money that Jared Goff has one of his dud games. Not worth it to me. But then we go up to Aaron Rodgers, who has shown that he's pretty much immune to a really good defense. But the Rams' weakness, if we can really call it a weakness, if anything, is against the run game. I see this being an Aaron Jones, a little bit of Jamal Williams, a little bit of A.J. Dillon trickled in as the focal point. Rodgers will still put up big numbers or decent numbers, but I don't necessarily think it's worth paying $6,900 when I can get one of these two guys for just a little bit more. When I look at Lamar Jackson, I look at his rushing ability since J.K. Dobbins has become the primary running back, and his numbers are night and day from what they were the first half of the season. The reason is that linebackers and DBs, when they bring extra men in the box, have to, and because J.K. Dobbins is faster, they have to anticipate where Dobbins is going to be. Lamar catches them more out of position than ever before. Really, really like Lamar this week. Buffalo's defense is the worst run defense of the bunch. I do get that they held Derrick Henry in check last week, but that was mostly a result of stacking 8 men in the box so much of the time.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I think Lamar is the most attractive option. I know a lot of people might be into Aaron Rodgers because, we know Aaron Donald is hurt. He may not play, but his number one guy, Devontae Adams, is got a little bit of a tough matchup there at cornerback. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to roll with Lamar, pay up a little bit. Now, stacks, that's your bread and butter, buddy. What stack are you looking at with Lamar?
Yeah, there's 2 stacks worth considering here. The first is Hollywood Brown, whose target share is finally up over the last 6 weeks. He's hit him on a few big plays. I get that Tre'Davious White is going to be on him, but Marquise Brown, somewhat like Tyreek Hill, is fairly matchup agnostic. You have to cover his double move, which is where he's deadly. So it's going to be about safety help. A lot of times that safety will have to come down in order to respect the run. And if they find the right way to go about it, Marquise Brown will end up open for a couple big ones, as he has the last 2 weeks. It's just too much to cover. Secondly, I know Mark Andrews hasn't had his monster game. It's a lot of 7 catches for 60 yards. I am totally good with you going Mark Andrews stack this week. But I really am just, or both, but I am just going to go with Hollywood Brown here.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it might be wiser to go with the Andrews stack if you're in a 50-50?
Good question. If I'm in a 50-50, I'm even considering no stack and just relying on Lamar's rushing ability.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to think of that within that framework first, because I can, instead of Brown or Andrews, I can look at tight end value or wide receiver value, and I can get that from a Josh Allen still throwing. I can get that from, you'll see shortly, there's a couple ways to get value from Green Bay receivers, as well as, potentially a Robert Woods or a value player, which I will talk about a little bit later in this episode.
Sounds good, Paul. But let's double back to running backs now. You were talking about good matchups there for Green Bay's running backs. Are you paying up for Aaron Jones, or are you looking for, a Jamal Williams action? What do you want to do here, buddy?
Yeah, so I saw a fantasy football stat earlier in this week that said on a consistency rating basis, because that is actually a statistic in fantasy football, lack of variation. You have Tyreek Hill, who boomer or 3 catch sometimes, right? Aaron Jones was the most consistent running back all season long. And so against a Rams defense, where again, good run defense, but not great, that is their weakness. And they'll have to, in order for Green Bay to win, it's going to be a run first package to open things up on the and get the pass rush away from Aaron Rodgers. So I will pay up for Aaron Jones this week. The second guy that I like here is I'm either deciding between. So by the way, I do like J.K. Dobbins. I'm okay with a Lamar Dobbins stack. I don't love it. I'm deciding here between Cam Akers and Devin Singletary. Zach Moss is out. Devin Singletary, although he only gets 6 carries a week, that'll double to 12. He'll catch a few passes, maybe 4 or 5. That's a good value there. I'm okay with either Cam Akers or Singletary here. Let's go Cam Akers.
Yeah, I like Akers. I think if they're going to be in that game, they need to run the ball and keep Rodgers off the field and Jones off the field.
Absolutely. And by taking Cam Akers here, I don't feel obligated to put another Ram in. So I can save some money by, leaving out Woods or Kupp. But there is going to be a Ram that I will put in here. And this is where we get to the sexy part of the show. I'm going to go with my value guy. I'm going to tell you that Cooper Kupp's injury last week did not look good. He has not yet practiced this week. So I think Josh Reynolds at 3,200 is absolutely worth it. Also, Kevin King on the Packers side is supposed to be out this week. So I think if Reynolds operates as either the pure number 2 or even as the 3, which we've seen him do, I see this as being a 5-catch week for Josh Reynolds. If he can get in the end zone, this is the value play of the weekend. Josh Reynolds.
Love it. That's how you win your matchups.
So I'm going to then proceed and take Stephon Diggs. I could go Beasley here, right? Because the Ravens are weakest in the slot in terms of their defensive backs. I'm going to try to start with Stephon Diggs and see if I can work backwards and get some value at tight end. But I do want a piece of that Buffalo offense. Even if I can get 2 receivers, maybe I can save up for Beasley in the flex.
Yeah.
So let's proceed to tight end right now. And I'm going into this going, okay, I want value at tight end, right? So, as I look at this, Knox has been a good end zone target. Andrews, as we said before, is a nice stack with Lamar, but he hasn't gotten in the end zone like he was last year. Tunyon has been underwhelming, only 3 catches or less in his last several games. Higbee and Everett, they're rolls of the dice. And then as I scroll down, I'm not seeing much. I'm going to go with I'm between Dawson Knox, Higbee, or Everett. Let's plug Dawson Knox in now. I'm going to put in my defense, and then I'm going to see where I can play from a flex perspective, right? Mm-hmm. If I need a little bit more cash, I'll go down to a Gerald Everett or a Tyler Higbee. If not, then I'll stick with Dawson Knox. I'll also see maybe I'm going to work in Cole Beasley or something like that. That's my thought process going into this lineup construction.
Yeah, and with 11 grand left, it looks like you might be able to work that all out. So,
yeah, there's a possibility here because I need to take a piece of the Green Bay receiving game. There's a possibility here that I can save enough, and that's in the back of my mind. Can I save enough to maybe take Devontae Adams here at 8,600 still?
Do you really want to risk that against Jalen Ramsey, though?
Yeah, but Devontae Adams is so in sync with Aaron Rodgers right now that it just doesn't matter. Remember, Jalen's not going to follow him all over the field all the time. People forget this, that like defenses don't play man on every single play, right? Mm-hmm. They mix in zone no matter what. And, receivers are going to get yardage against even the best cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, I don't like these offenses are so good. The only one that interests me in paying up for is the Packers. If I'm not taking the Packers, I might as well just go ahead and take the Rams D. If I'm taking the Rams D, I'm not, looking for Aaron Rodgers to have a lot of turnovers, but I am looking for their defense to hold them to, 20 to 24 points. Maybe they get 2 to 4, but it allows me to pay up elsewhere. I'm not counting on a big game. I'm just saying, let me save money here. I don't think there's a defense that's going to go crazy unless the Packers pick 6 golf. Mm-hmm. So now I'm approaching the flex and I go, oh, shoot. I am $100 short.
Wow.
Of being able to take Devontae Adams. So if I'm not going to be able to take Devontae Adams, I can do one of two things, right? I can downgrade Stephon Diggs, right? Or I can downgrade Dawson Knox, or I can go with Beasley and instead of Stephon Diggs here. So I'm going to go and I'm going to downgrade Dawson Knox to Higbee or Everett, either one. And then I'm going to now pay up and get Devontae Adams in there. Now, the strategy to me here is that if I have used, and I think this is really important for a lot of listeners, if I have used all of my salary, odds are that other people are going to have this same lineup. If you happen to win, and that's great, you're going to split $100,000, but you'll probably split it with a lot of people. But if maybe I take Gerald Everett here, and he's less owned than Higbee, and I have $300 remaining, this is more likely to be a unique lineup. So, again, we're not saying enter this lineup verbatim. We just wanted to give you guys a sense of our thought process around lineup construction and strategy.
Sounds like a good plan, Paul. One of the interesting things was that you paid up for Lamar. What changes, though, would you make if you wanted to save a couple of hundred and go with Allen, or save, 800 and pick Rodgers, which could be attractive if Aaron Donald is out or limited tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Ant. The first thing I'm doing is that if I don't have Lamar in my lineup, I am probably taking J.K. Dobbins with that. The second thing I'm thinking is that, or alteration that I would make is if I have Aaron Rodgers in my lineup, then I'm probably not taking Aaron Jones. So I'm going J.K. Dobbins and either Cam Akers or Devin Singletary if I want to save space, especially given that I'm, of course, stacking Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams.
Nice. Now, one other thing, lottery tickets are won and lost by value plays, and that is your jam. For those of us looking for value plays, what are some other ones you recommend?
Yeah, so I mentioned Devin Singletary, of course, at 4,500. I think that's a really interesting sort of sleeper play because he is the starter this week. maybe they're going to throw in a little TJ Yeldon or Tywan Jones or something, but there's no Zach Moss. So he'll see 5 or 6 passes his way. He'll get double-digit touches, which he hasn't gotten in him or Zach Moss have not gotten in weeks. The other thing I'm looking at here is I am very interested in taking an Allen Lazard or a Marquez Valdez-Scantling here. Lazard has had issues since he's come back, but he's consistently getting 5 or 6 targets. I think this is a good red zone dart throw with Allen Lazard. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is boom or bust. If you have 2 lineups, right, you throw Marquez Valdez-Scantling in one of them because he's the lottery ticket within the lottery ticket, right? If he hits on one and he actually catches the ball, that's a massive value play there.
Nice. Love that.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Hope these lineup recommendations were helpful for you. Go ahead, hit us up in the comment section or hit us up at FCK Podcast on Twitter or Instagram. We are here to help you. Hopefully we have one of our listeners this week hit a 6-figure winning.
6K, 6-figure. It's all good, baby, as long as they're making money.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone.
Good luck, guys.